Hey, True Believers. Chris Mack coming at you today with Tales of the Teen Titans, issue 44. And this is one of those comics that I never thought that I'd get in my collection. Right off the bat, if you guys don't want spoilers, this is the first appearance of Dick Grayson as Nightwing and the first introduction of Joseph William, aka Jericho. This is book 3 of the Judas contract, which if you guys have not read the Judas contract and all of you seen the animated version, the animated version was entertaining, but I would suggest if you can get the singles, because I'm a single junkie, but if you can get it in collected trade, either way, this is a read to behold. And let's preface this review by saying rest in peace George Perez, because he gave us a lot of great work. And also thank you to Marv Wolfman. I met him a couple years back. Really, really nice guy. Now, if memory serves correctly, the print date on this was June 1984, and this is There Shall Come a Titan. And up at the top, I hate when they just use the last name, so we're just going to go over what it says here. Marv Wolfman and George Perez, co-creators, co-editors. DeClaro and Giordano doing finishes. Todd Klein letter, and Adrian Roy was the colorist. So at this point in the Judas contract, Slade has figured out who the true identities of all the Titans, has single-handedly taken them all down, and Dick Grayson has taken a beating at his hands. So Dick doesn't know what to do when this lady named Adeline shows up with this boy in tow. He goes, "You somehow break through the Titans' defenses, claim I'm Robin, and insist that one of our members, Tara, is a traitor? Then you say you're the Terminator's wife, and you still expect me to believe your story? Lady, either you're crazy or you think I am. And that's just a great way to open the book, and in a storytelling way just kind of brings you up to speed on what this book is about. Come on, I may be young, but I'm hardly anyone's fool. Then don't act like one, Mr. Grayson. Truth is truth, and even you have to admit to yourself my story's plausibility." And I love how he immediately just kind of goes into, the Batman mode, what Bruce brought him up to be, of kind of not trusting immediately and questioning everything. But then she's like, let me tell you everything about the Terminator. And so this story kind of takes a beat from what's been happening in the Judas contract. It's kind of a moment to, after what's been happening. And so Adeline goes into Slade Wilson's origin story of how he's been a decorated hero since he's joined the military, how he was brought out for special training. And Adeline was the one that was supposed to train these new recruits. And she just saw how Slade stood out amongst all of them. She said, it says here, Slade Wilson had lied about his age when he first joined the Army at 16. He became the youngest decorated Korean war hero. And he was already an Army legend long before he joined us. But I kept watching Slade for another reason. Trite as it may sound now, he both frightened and fascinated me. I couldn't take my eyes off of him. And then we kind of get this training session with him and how he's able to, even though this is training, he takes it serious. And everyone's like, why are we going through basic again? This is stupid. And Slade says, shut up. There's a reason that they're training us. And even though it seems that he's able to traverse everything thrown at him, Adeline finds a way to throw a curveball at him. She says he was dumbfounded and flailing miserably to cover his bewilderment. I found myself laughing. He didn't know what to make of me. And so she says, let me train you personally. And so she teaches him how, instead of trying to focus, plowing through your enemy, to use peripheral vision. And so you see that she has a trick or two up her sleeve. And she says that's the first time she ever saw Slade smile. And it says here that, she fell in love with him when she first saw him. Wade fell in love when she bested him in training. And then this is where we also kind of get some backstory on Wintergreen, him and Adeline being married, and the birth of their first son, Grant Wilson, which, if that name sounds familiar, if you remember back to New Teen Titans issue 2, Grant was trying to walk in his father's footsteps, and it costed him his life. And I'll make sure to leave a link because we've gone over that issue. I wish I could find an original copy because the one I had is a reprint. I'm like, damn it, I would love to have the first issue of Deathstroke. So anyway, Slade, you come to find out, as you're reading this, you're thinking, oh God, how's this, this is going to be boring. You read it and it's almost like reading a war story. You just become invested because of the traditional use of storytelling. You find out how Slade is more married to the military than he was his own wife, that combat fulfilled him in a way that his life and his children couldn't. So he goes under a special, kind of like a super soldier serum, for lack of a better word, like Steve Rogers did, and it put him in a coma, and they discharged him, no matter how much he begged and pleaded. And so she said, I took him on a vacation. I was from wealth, so we just took a safari vacation, and Slade became a hunter and found what he was searching for, which brought him fame and wealth. And Grant, his oldest, looked up to him, while his son Joseph was more of the pacifist, wanting to learn music and singing. And she says here, and this is one thing I appreciate about Slade, is it says that he was a good father and nurtured both of his boys. But she didn't understand, she said that everyone that was in the know always crowded around him, and she thought that he just had this charm. But this is before the truth was revealed. Her home invaded, her youngest son taken, and then this is where she finds out that he is the Terminator. And he has to go rescue his son from a deadly assassin named the Jackal. He goes, don't you worry, Adeline. Our son will be safe. I guaranteed it. She goes, I don't want Joey hurt. Please promise me. Please, Slade, just give them whatever they want. And just look at the deadness in his eyes. I told you, Joseph will be safe. My word is my bond. And you come to find out that even though Slade does what he does, he has a bit of an ego about him because he always wants to be the best. So instead of giving up his career, he tries to take on the Jackal, which is what causes Joseph's condition. He is a mute. This is the mark of father's love. This and the corpse of my other son, Grant. You knew him as the Ravenger. Adeline had had it with Slade at this point. And the way that she wanted to divorce him, for lack of a better sense, this is what caused Slade his eye. If you guys want to know about that, read it. Now with this talk of family, what's kind of broken Adeline, what's made Joseph what he is, what's made Slade what he is. At this point, if you guys have never read New Teen Titans, when Raven brought the team back together, Robin led it, and Kid Flash was part of it, Wally West. Wally wanted to get out of the superhero life, so he left. And in the comics continuity, Dick gave up the Robin persona to try to live a normal life. Behind the scenes, I believe that they were trying to bring Wally into being the Flash, hence why he left. And then DC told Perez and Wolfman that they were wanting to introduce a new Robin, Jason Todd, and so that they needed the Robin name back. And that's kind of where they got the idea to do what they're about to do here. And instead of doing it like this big corporate thing, it is such a beautiful way that Dick gives respect to everyone that's a part of his life. The same way that it's kind of like a real severe 180 of what we just saw with what brought Jericho and Adeline to want to bring Slade down. He goes, I've run through 100 different names. Nothing seemed to fit. Each one sounded so strange to my ears. But there's one I kept coming back to, and a costume design I couldn't get out of my head. What's strange is both name and costume were based on other people, both mentor and friends. The Batman taught me, guided me, trained me. What I am, I owe to him. What more can I say? And Superman, I grew up in your shadow too. You taught me honor, selflessness, and the true meaning of the word hero. A long time ago, you used the name I've been thinking of. It was a name from your Kryptonian heritage. I'm the sum of so many people who have influenced me, shaped me, and have given me love. Mom and Dad, you were the first. What you gave me will never leave. It's forever locked in my heart and soul. Bruce, you took a young, frightened boy and showed him how to become a good man. Corey, it's so funny. I spent the better part of the last year fighting to forget what made me, me. I almost alienated everyone, but you stuck by me, and I love you for that. I gave up being Robin because that tied me to Batman. But now I become someone new, who commemorates all those who made me someone special. Are you people ready to say hello to Nightwing? And it's a little corny that they did that. But that moment was just really sweet. The way that Dick holds no animosity for anything. You know, he that's what I think why Batman always leans on Dick, because he possesses something that Bruce wished he had. And that's why their dynamic always works the best. But here we also get the first appearance of Jericho and how he wants to join the team to stop his father from hurting anyone else the way that he's sabotaged his family. And what I love is how even though Jericho has this power, he doesn't want to hurt people. His mother instructs him to show what he can do. She says he's a mutant and he can take over people's bodies. And she goes, hit him, Jericho, because he takes over into Dick's body. And he has this pleading look in his face that he doesn't want to. But in order for them to believe what Jericho is and the fact that they could have done this at any point in this conversation, Jericho does it. But he picks him up, and Dick realizes you only want to help. Yes, and I love that. I think I'd be proud to have your help. And it's just a great way that they bring Jericho onto the team. The way that Dick Grayson was able to reinvent himself to get out from under Batman's shadow, all the while commemorating all the people that made him him. Very special issue, guys. You kind of see why Slade is the way he is, why Jericho wants to do what he's doing, and how Dick comes back into the fold of being a full-time Titan. That's why, just as a quick anecdote before we wrap this up, that's why the show Titans pissed me off. They literally pissed all over the Judas contract and how they introduced Joseph and Slade. It was terrible. They really should have paced that out, and they just rushed through it and just made a whole, yeah, it really hurt my Gurk. So guys, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop, and if you can get the original issues, go for it. Definitely worth it. If not, pick it up and collected trade. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little Terminator bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.